In KwaZulu-Natal, additional police have been deployed to beef up security. The usually bustling main streets of Durban were almost deserted today. Shops remain closed with police out in full force. But frightened foreigners gathered in groups, fearful of more attacks. Their representatives say the attacks are well orchestrated and call for military intervention. A sporadic incident, a Somali national was arrested for stabbing two locals in what is suspected to be a revenge attack. Another Somali was injured after being shot at in a drive-by shooting. 75 people have so far been arrested in connection with the attacks. And for more on that, we're joined on the line by our reporter in Durban, Ayanda Mchlonko. Ayanda, what's the situation like in Durban right now?
Well, very good evening to you, Mahendra. The situation at the moment calm, but still very much tense, as we have been reporting on it throughout the day. Shops all closed. As I said, people who know Durban will know the main streets in the city, West Street, which is now Pixkigaseme, Smith Street, down towards the Point area. It's always there's lots of people in that area. It's always a bustling area with traffic and people going to stores, as of course being the center of town. But today pretty much deserted. I think from yesterday, a lot of people afraid to come into town. And as a result, of course, obviously, because a lot of the shops were closed down. Foreign nationals as well, we could just see them throughout the day hanging around outside their shops. But they were saying that they've been advised to remain closed up until the situation is stable, and they would then obviously get that reassurance from the police as well as the leaders, I beg your pardon, of the various foreign communities. They've also said that, of course, advising their countrymen to close their stores for their safety up until the situation is stabilized. While during the day, Mahendra, as I said, it was relatively calm. A lot of police, though, out in full force, a lot of police on the ground, from SABC to Metro Police, monitoring all corners of the city. But very sadly, we did hear of those sporadic incidents that did take place. Two South Africans were stabbed in what we believe to be, or suspect to be, a revenge attack following the killings. You'd also would have heard probably in our reports earlier on throughout the day that the foreigners have said that they are going to retaliate and that they cannot die. They are accusing the police of not protecting them, and therefore they saying that they are now arming themselves and they are going to protect themselves. Obviously now, with that said, those suspicions that this attack, of course, could have been a revenge attack. At the same time, of course, a Somali was also shot in a drive-by shooting as well. So those are the two unfortunate incidents that took place in the Durban CBD this afternoon.
Ayanda, we understand that the violence has spread at about 90 kilometers away from Durban to Pietermaritzburg.
Yes, absolutely. Around midday, we did hear that in Pietermaritzburg, foreign nationals were being threatened, although not as vicious as what we've seen here in Durban. But of course, again, there, foreigners decided to close their stores, and others have said that even before the situation that they've been hearing about and seeing that is taking place here in Durban, they've decided to just close, and others are now trying to decide on whether or not to leave those areas around Pietermaritzburg. Of course, we have the assurance from police as well that they are monitoring that situation in Pietermaritzburg very closely. So basically, as I said, very disappointing as well to see that the spread of these attacks is now heading out of Durban to Pietermaritzburg, but police say that it is under control and that there have not been any incidents where someone was injured during the attacks. So far, it's just been mainly threats against foreign nationals.
Now, Anna, coming back to Durban, where you are, how widespread is the looting? Is the looting still continuing despite the fact that we just had a couple of sporadic incidents of violence?
Yes, absolutely. It does seem like that. That looting is still continuing. Maybe not here, Mahendra, in the city centre, but in townships outside of Durban. We also have been saying that last night the violence did spread out of the city to the areas of Verulam, I beg your pardon, and Tongat. Also another area just outside of Durban, Waterloo. There was a lot of looting that was reported there, vandalism as well. We also heard from the Ethiopian leader telling us that 3 Ethiopians were killed in last night's attack in those areas. So again, a lot of looting in those areas. But what seems to be the trend in this is that the attacks, Mahendra, are well orchestrated, it does seem. So these attackers will come in, they'll attack the stores, attack the foreign nationals, and then after that you'll see the communities just coming in and looting. So that's basically how it's been playing out across these areas, where groups will come in taxis. This is what we're getting from the foreign nationals. They will come in, they'll attack. Where foreign nationals have been kidnapped, like in Durban, for example, that will take place. And then once the stores are left open and the foreign nationals have either been injured or have fled the shops, then the communities then come in and loot.
Okay, Ayanda, very quickly and very briefly, the last question. How are the police responding to the situation?
The police, as I said, have been out in full force at the start of the violence. You remember, Mahendra, that we spoke about the national deployments. First, about 100 police officers from other provinces were deployed here to the province of KwaZulu-Natal, and now an addition of 800 police officers has been added to that. They are out in full force, as I've said, like today in the city. They were out in all corners, ensuring that they keep a close eye on the situation. So, yeah, the police, as obviously, are supported by Metro. Some companies or some foreign nationals have also employed private security guards. So all those security agencies are working together in the efforts to try and curb this violence.
Thank you very much indeed for bringing us up to speed. That was our reporter Ayanda Mshlongo on the line from Durban.